history and past affiliations. You say they're past affiliations, they may not accept you, but if you don't ask for it, you definitely will not be placed in it. Do you understand? All right, and there was no PSI in this case, correct?
Correct. It's a jail case.
All right. Court is calling 2024 CR 3592, State of Texas versus Ramon Sanchez. Oh, it's Ramon Sanchez. 2024 CR 3592. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state,
Andrew Harris, gentlemen.
for the defense?
Brian Kimbrough for Mr. Sanchez.
And you are Mr. Sanchez?
Yes, ma'am.
You entered a plea of guilty on August 12th, and this was recalled for August 27th. According to the plea bargain agreement, punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 5 years in the prison. There's a $2,000 fine. There are no applications. The state is taking in consideration 2024 CR 2931. Both parties agreed not to have a PSI. It was reset so that defense could have witnesses present if they wanted to have witnesses present, and for the state to tender to the court for review Mr. Sanchez's criminal history. Defense, do you have any witnesses?
No witnesses argument, Your Honor. Oh, my client, other than my client, no.
All right, could you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record, please.
Ramon Sanchez, Jr.
All right, make sure you keep your voice up so that I can hear you and the court reporter can hear you.
All right.
Could I introduce the case a little bit, Your Honor?
Yes.
This, first of all, I want the court to understand that I'm not in any way meaning my remarks to suggest that Mr. Sanchez doesn't accept his responsibility 100% in this case. But there are some aspects that are a little unique, and I wanted to make sure the court understood that. I think they're mitigating. Okay, the main thing is that Mr. Sanchez was at home on the night of this incident. I think he was on his driveway listening to music. He was going through a problem with his wife, a divorce, possibly some family issues. So his son drove by and fired shots at the house, hitting Mr. Sanchez in the hand. He actually, I believe, fired a whole clip, but he hit Mr. Sanchez. He's the only one that got injured. His wife called the police. So the police came to the scene and investigated. Now, in the course of that investigation, now Mr. Sanchez does not have good impulse control. He got very upset, not at the police, but at his son, essentially, and the whole situation. Number two, he was not taking the medication that he should have been. Of course, that's a common problem. We all know that. But it just sort of added fuel to the fire of his emotional problem. But he did not, he was not attacking the police. He was extremely upset. And I've looked at the video, and I can assure you that he lost control of his emotions. And so he got into essentially a verbal argument with the police over some trivial thing, which then led to a confrontation, which then led to him being detained and handcuffed, at which point he got upset and did not cooperate, as he should have. And an officer suffered a broken little finger as a result. And he understands that it was his doing that caused that. But it was a situation where he wasn't a defendant, you know, in a case that was being investigated. He wasn't being arrested. He was actually a victim of a shooting. And it was that situation that created this case. Now, he has a bad record, no question about it. I mean, he's not applying for probation. I'm just suggesting to the court that a more just or fair sentence, given the circumstances, would be, say, 3 years as opposed to 5. Now, I know Mr. Sanchez would like to address the court himself. Could I call him, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, you've stated your name for the record. If you could restate it again,
Yeah,
please.
my name is Ramon Sanchez.
All right, defense, you may ask your questions.
Thank you. Ramon, is there anything you'd like the judge to know about what happened that day or that evening? I should
That
say?
I mean nothing no bad towards the cops or anything. It's just I was emotionally going through a divorce at the time.
Mhm.
You know, due to my drug abuse. I stay at my mom's house because I was a provider for dialysis. And
What kind of medication were you on at the
I
time?
take Naprexa, Lexapro, and Depakote, 750, 500 milligrams. And I'm diagnosed with bipolar, PTSD, and
Schizophrenia.
schizophrenia. And now that I've been on my medication, I haven't been in trouble. I've been in the county almost 10 months.
Now, at the time, you were on different medication
Yes, I was.
and you weren't taking it
No, I was abusing alcohol.
and abusing alcohol.
Yes.
Okay.
But I would ask the court to see if I could have some kind of help, mental help.
So in sum, Your Honor, we're asking the court to take those aspects of the case into consideration in forming a sentence.
All right, any questions?
Mr. Sanchez, which hand were you shot?
My right hand.
And why were you not taking the medications that were prescribed to
Because
you?
I
at the
was
time?
drinking at the time, sir.
So you were able to access those medications, correct?
Yes,
But you chose not to take
I
it,
chose.
and you chose to consume alcohol instead.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Could be worse. I had CPS took my kids away from me. I couldn't see them through that. I needed to join the program, and I decided not to leave the drugs and alcohol, because I had UA stuff like that. But now I've been on my medication 10 months. I could think better, and I know what I want for myself, for my kids, and be there for the last years of my life.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, why was your son shooting at you?
He was upset. So I had got in an argument with him and told him that I didn't want him around my mom's house if he was gonna come asking for money.
All right, I still don't understand how that translates into guns being pulled.
Well, he suffers from his bipolar himself,
So what happened with his case?
It was dismissed. They never followed up with it.
So you're saying he shot at you and the case was dismissed?
Yeah, well, they never made a case out of it.
And how did this translate to an assault on an officer for you?
Well, at the time when they came, they asked me what was going on. I told them that I was okay. And they still wanted to see my hand. I told them they should call an ambulance instead of cops trying to arrest me. And I started arguing with them. I flipped out on them, man.
Well, you said that they wanted to see your hand
Yes,
because a
I was
call had
bleeding.
come in that
Yeah.
you were shot.
yes.
I don't see how that translates into them wanting to arrest you. When you say they're just there to ask you
Yeah,
what happened to your hand.
I blacked out, man.
I think what happened, Your Honor, was that they were I think he overheard a conversation. According to the police report, he overheard a conversation between the police and I think his son. I think they were talking to his son on the phone. He got upset. He got emotionally upset. Not any rational reason. And it was then when they were detaining him after he got upset that this happened. So it doesn't excuse what happened. It doesn't mean he didn't do it. It doesn't mean he's not guilty. But that was the circumstance. And I don't think there's any question that he was shot. That's a fact.
All right. Is there anything else?
No.
Any other witnesses?
No.
State criminal history? Any objections to the court reviewing the criminal history?
No.
So do you have gang affiliation?
No, ma'am. I'm a ex-member of a Mexican mafia.
Okay.
Choose my family over that prison stuff.
All right. He does have a long criminal history.
He does, no question.
State.
Thank you.
We'll hear argument.
Well, Your Honor, again, my argument is, only that, in order for this sentence to be, correctly reflect, these facts, I believe that a lesser sentence would be justified. I think I would urge the court to consider 3 years. He's going to do time, but again, this isn't a situation where he was, a possible defendant or a suspect that was resisting arrest. It was not a situation where he was doing something antagonistic to the police. He was actually a victim of a shooting, and he was extremely emotionally out of control himself. He had a lot of difficulties. And so in this situation, this injury happened. And I think it's fair that he do prison time for it. But I think a 3-year sentence would be better reflect what happened than a 5-year sentence.
State.
As I understand it, Mr. Sanchez began to use alcohol and stopped using his medication in response to an emotionally difficult moment in his life. And while I have a certain measure of sympathy for him and the pain that he experienced and the desire that he had to no longer experience that pain, nevertheless, the choice to use alcohol rather than his medication was his choice. His response to the officers was his choice. I think a cap of 5 correctly reflects the circumstances of the offense. Mr. Sanchez.
Just 1 second. Everyone, can you all whisper? All right, you may continue.
The circumstances of the offense, Mr. Sanchez's response to it, his criminal history, and the fact that it was in part a reflection of the choices that he made up to and including those moments.
All right. There's going to be a $2,000 fine. Time and money will run concurrent. I'm going to ask for the therapeutic community or the mental health unit at the prison. I don't have jurisdiction over that. You'll have to ask for it as well. And maybe they'll put you in the program, maybe they will not. Based upon your history and past affiliations, you say they're past affiliations, they may not accept you. But if you don't ask for it, you definitely will not be placed in it. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and the court is taking in consideration 2024 CR 2931. And the court will sentence you to 5 years in the prison. All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney?
Yeah.
Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. I want you to know that your attorney put forth good arguments for you.
Yes.
I have to weigh certain things, right? I do have to consider your criminal history. He'll tell you, I've been a defense attorney before, and I always think when you're calling on people as repeaters and habituals, if they wouldn't have that, maybe there would be a different plea bargain agreement with regards to this case. But those are things I have to take in consideration, and also taking in consideration the circumstances surrounding this. But your history, you have a violent history, then you have this. Then it's you not being on your medications when you're supposed to be on your medications. So I want you to know your attorney did have great arguments. I think the offer was a fair offer for you. When you're released, make sure you stay on your medications. When you're released, if you can't find a place to go, if I'm still here, I will direct you where you can go to make sure that you stay clean and sober and on your medications, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Good luck to you. Court is calling 2024 CR 007382, State of Texas versus Sergio Cantu Barrera. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
And Mayor Sandler.
Defense,
John Pettis for defense.
are you Mr. Barrera?
See,
Yes.
All right, we have an interpreter present. If you could raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear and affirm you will faithfully translate from Spanish to English and English to Spanish, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, if you'll state your name for the record.
Cesar Chavez, license number 2203.
All right, Mr. Barrera, all of the documents I'm reviewing with you will be in English. Were those documents explained to you in Spanish?
see,
Yes.
And counsel, do you speak Spanish?
I do not.
All right. And were you able to communicate with your client through the interpreter?
Yes, Judge.
And did you review all of these documents with him with the interpreter present?
I did, Judge.
Have you received all of the discovery?
I have, Judge.
And did you review it with your client?
Yes, Judge.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Barrera, did you review the document entitled Application for Community Supervision with your attorney?
see,
Yes.
Did you understand it
see,
Yes.
and sign it?
see,
Yes, ma'am.
Did you review the true bill of indictment with your attorney?
see,
Yes.
And did you understand it?
see,
Yes.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do, Judge.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Prior conviction allegation cause number 10663 and proceed as the lesser included TWI with one prior conviction.
Any objection?
No objections, Judge.
Did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments and Defendant's Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions with your attorney?
see,
Yes.
Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
see,
Yes.
Did you understand you're charged with driving while intoxicated second as a Class A misdemeanor? Range of punishment is up to 1 year in the Bear County Jail and up to a $4,000 fine. Did you understand?
see,
Yes.
If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you, and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
see,
Yes.
Did you understand you have a right to a jury trial? A right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent.
see,
Yes.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
see,
Yes.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
uh-huh, see,
Yes.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
He has, Judge.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
He does, Judge.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Barrera, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
no,
No.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
no,
No.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
see,
Yes.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
no,
No.
sorry, let's see that.
I'm a resident.
All right. Counsel, have you spoken with your client about the impact this plea will have on his immigration status?
Yes, Judge.
See,
And do you believe he understands the impact this will have on his immigration status?
Yes, Judge.
And did you discuss with him possible deportation,
Yes, Judge.
denial of residency,
Yes, Judge.
and the denial of reentry?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Barrera, did you have a chance to speak with your attorney regarding the impact this plea will have on your immigration status?
see,
Yes.
Do you understand that you may be deported?
see,
Yes.
Do you understand that you may be denied residency?
see,
Yes.
Do you understand that you may not be allowed to re-enter the United States?
see,
Yes.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
see,
According to the plea, Punishment is to be assessed at 1 year in the Bear County Jail. State is proceeding on the lesser included offense of driving while intoxicated second. There's a $2,000 fine and the state recommends community supervision. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes.
Defense, is that the plea?
Yes, Judge.
State, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in both places?
Yes.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes.
Counsel, are there any such motions?
No, Judge.
Outside the agreement, the state is recommending that your probation be for a term of 2 years. There'll be 3 days in the Bear County Jail, a 2-year Texas driver's license suspension, ignition interlock for full term, and scram for 90 days, and 150 hours community service restitution. Did you understand those were recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes.
Then to the offense of driving while intoxicated second, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
State, any evidence?
And an exhibit attachments, Your Honor.
No objections, Judge.
All right, state, you may be excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Did you review the document entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
And did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Actually, Judge, I was going to ask if we could give my client some time just to, because of the 3 days, either give him some time to turn himself in or recall for next week to
No, we're going to proceed.
order PSI, then, I don't know.
I mean, if you want a PSI, I can give you a PSI, but the PSI may be suggesting something differently than what the court will do. It's completely up to you.
Let me ask my client.
Sure.
We were hoping to try to get him something because this was not an offer we expected to get today.
Mhm.
They only offer, so we weren't anticipating this.
Okay,
Let me talk to him.
sure.
Okay, I got you.
Yes.
All right, Judge. So we're trying to figure out, we don't need a record yet. We're just letting you know. We're trying to figure out, I guess, the exclusion zone where she's not to go.
Mhm.
We're not opposed to her being in contact with her or anything else of that. One of the areas is she's getting ready to move, to be closer to her kids. It will kind of be in the same area, UTSA's and 1604 area. I know she has no intention of having any contact with this
All right,
woman,
if y'all
though.
just figure out where within where she's supposed to be living. She's of course allowed to live where she's living unless she is living, for example, in an apartment complex and the complainant lives in that apartment complex.
I don't think
So do
so.
y'all have
I just wanted to
locations?
make sure Tuesday is too general for an area to.
That's my concern. I just don't want her to run afoul of something if she's living in that area. I mean, it's a big spread.
All right, so if y'all are,
We'll get it figured out.
all right, thank you.
Thanks, Judge.
Sure.
Have a seat.
Rodney Brown.
We'll get it.
Rodney Brown? Who's the attorney on Rodney Brown? Daniel Guerrero.
President of that judge. Family violence took off, but I mean, I can let you know the conversations that we had.
All right. So where are we on the EMS records?
So Judge, I have the EMS records. There is an additional video that I'm unable to download via e-discovery. I'm gonna go drop off a thumb drive. It's just one large video. I believe a body cam that we're missing. But if you could place us on a plea deadline.
So you received an
Okay.
offer and everything?
I haven't received an offer. I guess if you can recall us for a few weeks so I could receive an offer,
All right.
then we can do that.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, can you recall Guerrero in 2 weeks, please?
Number 12.
All right, we'll come back on September 12th. Thank you for dressing appropriately for court. Once you sign the reset form, you're excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, who's here on Roland Miller? All right, today is plea deadline date.
Yes, Sean.
Yes.
We received a new offer this morning. I've talked over with my client. He is rejecting that offer. So we're ready to be put on the trial docket.
All right, how long do y'all expect this trial to last?
2 days, Judge.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, Criminal Trial Division, 3 days, jury trial. All right, November 12th will be your jury trial date. If y'all can make sure that the acknowledgement of discovery has been completed. Thank you for dressing appropriately for court. That's very Mad Men. Okay, I love that time period as far as the dress. All right, just have a seat. Once you sign the reset form, you're excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Norma, what page is he on? Thank you. All right, who's here on Craig? All right, Mr. Charles Craig, why were you late?
He didn't know where the courtroom was, Judge. He was on the first floor.
Right, so
Well, I
here's,
should have left earlier.
all right, so here's the thing. You now know where the courtroom is. Don't be late again, okay?
Right, yes, ma'am.
All right, where are we on discovery? Do you have all of the discovery?
I believe so, Judge, but I'll double check with Monica to be sure. We just received an offer this setting, so we're hoping to get just one more reset to consider that offer and to review the evidence with Mr. Ray.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, can you set this for 30 days for a plea deadline date, please?
Is there any way we could do October 1st?
That's fine. All right, we'll come back on October 1st. On that date, you need to let the court know whether or not you're accepting the state's offer. Thank you for dressing appropriately for court. Just have a seat and they will give you the reset form. And once you sign that, you're excused. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Bashan, are you ready on Sosa?
Yes, Judge.
All right, we're back on the record in 2015 CR 9437 Alfonso Sosa. Ms. Abrams, what did you discover?
So Judge, typically it would be the responsibility for the defendant to find his way home after the Austin Transitional Center releases them. However, we try to work, they have the ability to work to get the funds. They work closely with them to get the funds to be transferred back. Back in 2020, the staff that we have currently was not managing that unit. So things have changed. Just so that we're fully aware, what happens now is they work hand in hand with nonprofit organizations to get the funds to get the defendants back to where they came from.
Okay.
So at that time, that may or may not have happened. We don't have record of that. But to answer the court's question, it is the responsibility of the defendant once they are released from the transitional center to go back to where they reside.
Okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Sosa, are you asking the court to follow this agreement that's been reached?
Yes,
Are you waiving your right to appeal?
yes.
All right, the court will follow your agreement. The court is finding violation of condition number 5 true. There's an affirmative finding of family violence, 2 years in the prison. Give you credit for any time served, and I'll give you credit for time in inpatient treatment that was successfully completed.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney?
Yes,
Did you understand it?
yes,
And did you sign it?
yes,
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is an affirmative finding of family violence and also a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. Do you understand?
yes.
All right, do you have any questions about anything? All right, we can go off the record. I'm sorry that at that time they were doing things where they place you in a completely different location and expect someone who's homeless or who's recently released from inpatient treatment, which you have no money because you're in inpatient treatment, for them to expect you to make it back here on your own. All right, good luck to you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Hello, Officer Mendez. Thank you so much for zooming in right away. You're on mute.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. So I have Nathaniel Vasquez here. I received the violation report from your office. He said he didn't have the proper contact numbers down. Is he able to report to you all today?
Yes, so he actually called me this morning and checked in with me via phone. So he has been checked in and he's currently back in compliance. The issue was the number that he had on file was his mother's phone number. And so every time that we would try to reach him, we were making contact with her, but we weren't able to make contact with him. And we would be told that he would make contact with us at later in the day whenever he would get home, but then we would never end up hearing from him.
So you have all of the appropriate numbers for him now?
Yes, as of this morning, he provided me with the 210.
Just 1 second. You don't need to say the number. So,
Okay, sorry.
but you've given her your proper number,
The one I called from this morning.
and that's the number where they can always reach you.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so you need to make sure you're there because otherwise they're going to send to the court another violation report and we're going to be having a different conversation. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And if there's an issue where you feel like you can't get in touch with them, I'm sure they'll provide an email for you to email them as well. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, does he need to see you today or no?
No, he's good. He's checked in today.
All right. All right, good luck to you.
You have a
All
wonderful
right,
day.
you too. Just 1 second. Let me finish talking to you. All right, thank you, Officer Mendez.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
All right, you too. All right, so here's the thing.
Yes, ma'am.
You can't wear that T-shirt to court, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if you have another T-shirt, a black T-shirt would be fine. If you have a T-shirt with a collar, that would be fine. For dressing appropriately for court, I realize that not everybody has a three-piece suit with a tie that they can pull out. So all I ask is if you're coming to court, you can wear jeans if you want to. Just make sure they're not the fashionable jeans where people have the holes in them.
Definitely make sure.
And then you can just wear a t-shirt. If you want to wear a t-shirt, they used to call them polos for me back in the day with a collar. That's absolutely fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You have
Have
a
a good
wonderful
one.
day.
You too. Who's the attorney on Johnny Ruiz Jr.? I think it's criminal trial division, collision involving death. Yes. All right, so I know there are probably still some outstanding discovery. Can someone tell me what's maybe outstanding? Do you have all of the medical? Do you have the autopsy?
I do, Judge.
All right, is there anything that's outstanding?
Not that I'm aware of at this time.
All right, so this is what I'm going to do. This is a first setting case. I'm going to set it in 30 days for you to make sure that you have all of the discovery. And then on that day, if you have all the discovery, I want an acknowledgement of discovery.
Understood.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, I need a 30-day reset on Johnny Ruiz. State you're excused.
September 30th.
All right, we're going to come back on September 30th. All right, Mr. Ruiz, when you come back to court, no t-shirts, you understand?
Yes, I saw the last one. I do apologize. I just wanted, I'm nervous and I just wanted to feel comfortable.
Oh, no problem. Here's the thing, unless somebody tells you what you don't know it, right? And so I always tell people it doesn't have to be a three-piece suit, right? Because I don't have a three-piece suit hanging in the closet, although I would like one, but I don't have one hanging in the closet. So,
Understandable.
all right, so once you sign the reset form, you're excused. So what's going to happen? We're going to come back on September 30th.
Mhm.
On that date, your attorney is going to let me know if he has all of the discovery. If he doesn't, hypothetically, let's say he's missing a medical report. He'll let me know he's missing a medical report. Then we'll give a reset date for him to make sure he has that, and the state turns it over. I want to make sure that he has all of the discovery so we can proceed.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, do you have any questions about the process or anything? All right, just take a seat. They're going to give you a reset form, and once you sign it, you're excused, and make sure you put your email if you have one on the reset form, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It's a lovely day, Judge.
All right, we have a violation report. Your client missed a setting, well, an appointment with pretrial services.
Yes, Your Honor. I tried to contact him.
Everyone, will you all please whisper? But if you're not going to whisper, bring that same level a tone when you're before the bench so I can hear you. Yes.
I finally the numbers that we had, the pretrial had was his mother's telephone number. She works, I was able to call early enough yesterday that I finally got a hold of her. Apparently, Mr. Vasquez was not staying at the home. Are you staying somewhere else?
No, you think?
Yes. So, I don't know if she didn't understand who the numbers were.
Okay.
He's been reporting to his bonds person. Nobody ever told him, Your Honor, I would ask that he be allowed to go now that he understands he has to go to pretrial and his bond people.
How old are you?
I'm 21 now.
All right, so you're 21. Under the eyes of the law, you're an adult.
Yes, ma'am.
You need to be responsible for one, your own case, as far as showing up. Just, I don't know why. And when I was a defense attorney too, people would say, well, my bondsman never told me. Well, your bondsman will not be going to jail if you don't show up. Do you understand?
Yes.
So with this pretrial services, you need to be in contact with them. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, just have a seat. Ms. Ferguson, can you have his pretrial services officer zoom in? We're going to have his officer zoom in so they can have all of your contact information. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so just have a seat.
May I be excused, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. You don't need me for that.
I'm sorry, Chaz Jabbar Reed.
Already. Translators here and.
Good morning, Mr. Reed. All right, so where are we on discovery?
So I need to double check. I don't think we have one of the underlying
Cases?
cases that we need to.
Oh,
Well, and then also, there may be a record that I'm looking for where he signs.
Yes.
And
I'm double checking some discovery for.
all right. How long are y'all asking for discovery?
Uh,
All right, Ms. Ferguson, can I have a 2-week reset on Chaz Reed, please?
how you doing today, Judge?
Oh, I'm doing okay. It's Friday Eve. How can you not be happy?
Feel like it's Friday.
today, he's very excited.
Yeah. What time? September 12th. All right, so we'll be back on September 12th.
Okay.
All right, is there anything else?
No, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Reed, do you have any questions?
I was gonna see if I can do anything like apply for a PR bond or something. I was out there.
Oh, what I can tell you is number one, you'll have to have a motion set for that. If you want counsel, I can have him interviewed for a PR bond.
It's already been three months. I haven't paid my child support or anything. My ex-wife is asking my mom for money now.
Judge, perhaps you can have him interviewed today and.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be today, but I'll put
okay.
in the order to request that he be interviewed today.
All right.
So I'll have you interviewed for a PR bond. Counsel, once that's completed, we can bring him back.
Okay.
If it may be completed sooner than the 12th. Okay,
All right.
all right. David Vargas,
Morning, Judge.
good morning. How's it going?
Great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing okay. You know, Zach is leaving us.
You're leaving.
That's my last name.
Where are you going?
Going to intake.
I thought you meant leaving.
I'll wait to the front, sir.
All right. So we're back here. Today is the plea deadline date. It was previously reset so that the impact of any type of plea can be addressed by you.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is happening today?
Mr. Vargas is going to opt to go ahead and set up a trial.
All right. State, how long do you expect this trial to last?
More than 3 days.
All right, Ms. Ferguson. Can I have Vargas set for a jury trial? They say it's 3 days. It's family violence. Your plea deadline date has expired. The court will not accept any plea bargain agreements without good cause. Otherwise, you have to plead open to the court. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and thank you so much. You always dress appropriately for court. I appreciate that.
October 14th, Judge, and it's gonna be an impact.
All right, it's going to be October 14th, and it will be an impact court. All right, and can you all make sure that an acknowledgement of discovery has been signed and completed?
Absolutely, Judge. I'll double check right now.
We'll do it
All right.
this morning.
All right,
If it hasn't
thank
been done
you.
already.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you,
Just
Judge.
remain in the courtroom till you sign the reset form.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Have a good holiday.
All right, you too. Deputy Laura, what page is Vargas on?